All right, perfect. I don't know. Am I supposed to give an intro or anything? I We can probably do this later. Sorry, this is really okay. Anyways, hi. To give a more formal introduction here, my name is Aiden Kwapish. I am the outreach current mentor, or not mentor. I'm the outreach semi-lead. I'm also an advisor of our team ToborTalk, and with me is Sophia. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm also on ToberTech, and I'm drive coach, auto lead, and just yeah, general ToberTech member. Yep.
And then I'll say, if I'm introducing this to the audience, I'll say with us is team 8680 Kraken Pinion. Hey y'all.
Hello. Hi.
So do you guys want to give a little bit of introduction to who you are and what your roles are on the team?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Adam Ofterhide. I'm team captain, and I do a lot of the mechanical stuff. I'm Corey Herda. I'm the programming lead on the team.
Okay. Sounds perfect. I think we have a couple questions for y'all. And I'm super curious to hear what was your guys' experience so far this season in Power Play?
Well, I think one of one of the most crucial experiences to our season was kind of moving on from our first robot and into our second one. We used to use a triple reverse 4-bar linkage, and now we have like two long extending slides. One is vertical but like angled, and the other is horizontal. And our first robot didn't perform so well. And one of the most exciting parts of our season was over winter break. We, in about the span of a week, built the entirety of our second robot. And it was really exciting to like see all of that pay off. And we really saw promising results from it in that week.
Okay, that's good to hear. I saw on your Instagram that are you guys attending the World Tournament this season?
Yes, we are.
I wanted to just say congratulations. And what was your experience like at States?
Yeah, so at state we had our six qualification matches and we were able to win all six matches. And then we during the elimination matches we went 2-0 in the semis and 2-0 in the finals. So overall we had a really good day. It was a great competition and we did really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my goodness. I was gonna say I'm a little bit jealous in a way because our state competition got like I don't know
Oh, I
I
heard
don't know if
Oh
you
about
guys are
yeah,
on
that.
yeah.
the FT okay. I don't know if you guys are on like the FTC Discord or anything. Um which I don't know why, but basically because everyone was talking about like because so basically we got snowed out, right? So
Mhm.
all of our judging and our entire like gameplay like shifted to remote, which is it was a little bit of not a new experience because of COVID, but it was definitely one that we had to adapt to in a really short time. So yeah, no, I guess it's interesting to see. It was interesting to see a shift in that, but it's really cool that you guys are going to the World Tournament. What's your guys' preparation looking like now?
Well, we're doing a lot of fundraising. That's very
Mm.
important because flying from Wisconsin to Houston and he's driving and bringing the robot stuff down, but
Oh my
all that
God.
costs a lot of money. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of fundraising right now, but we have a very consistent auto and we're working on making it even more consistent. We got 34 out of 36 cones and qualifications at state, which gave us the highest tiebreaker points by far.
Mhm.
Had we lost the match, we would have still been ranked first, even because of how high the tiebreaker was. So right now we're doing a lot more driver practice than auto because we're really confident with that.
Mm. Okay, that's really cool. Sophia, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the as a fellow autonomous person, I wanted to ask what polls do you guys deliver onto during autonomous, and have you experienced like any competition on the like high poll that everybody likes to deliver on?
So our strategy for autonomous is to not go for the high pole that everyone goes on, but we go for the high pole near the substation. That was a big driving factor for the design of our robot. We have our horizontal extension is long enough,
It's like 3.5 feet.
yeah, that we can reach the stack and that pole without moving the drivetrain to the robot. So we made that choice so that we could avoid any competition over the high pole near the stacks that most teams go for, to allow us to make the autonomous as consistent as possible.
Yeah, we saw at state, our partner in finals had was on the normal high pole, the closest one to the stack, and they collided with the other team and they got turned off in the finals match. So that was pretty rough. But that just shows, I guess, the payoff of why we're going for the farther pole, because it is definitely a bit harder to get consistent.
Oh my goodness. Wait, so the robot just got like, oh my, that's a little interesting. I guess I'm curious, because for a lot of actually Sophia's work as strategy coach, it's a lot of her like coordinating strategies and stuff with teams beforehand. When you guys are paired with people with alliances, what's your general strategy for coordinating like what you guys are going to do during the match before?
Well, I mean, we have a variety of things we can do. Our robot is fast and maneuverable, so we can score on all of the poles in about a minute and 40 seconds right now, but we're working on getting that time down. And we also have an automated cycling program that in about just under 3 seconds can score cones on the near high pole to the substation. So we have a variety of things we can do. And what we actually did before the state competition was looked at all of the team strengths. We had 25 teams there, and we made an individual strategy for if we were paired with each one of them. A lot of them overlapped, but we just had a general idea of what it was going to be like going in when we saw that we were paired with each team. And we kind of adjusted that slightly based on who our opponents were.
Hmm. Okay. Wait, so how did you what was your process of gathering like data and like watching the team? Did you have like a scouting process beforehand from like previous competitions, or was it more of just like watching them like through maybe like online or anything like that?
So we did a bit of both. So we took what we've seen at their previous competitions to see consistency. Um, but the way that our competitions were broken up, the ones we went to, there were many of them after the ones we went to. So we both looked at the ones that we went to along with whatever the team's most recent one was online, so that we could gather a variety of data and see the consistency of the teams.
We also had some of our team members that weren't on the drive team watching every single match and kind of updating that data, because if the team hadn't shown up in competition for over a month, chances are they're going to have something new or have more practice. So we had a few people on each field, or in the audience on each field, kind of updating the information so that we knew what everyone could do.
That makes sense. I'm That's interesting. Did you ever, because one thing that our team did, because we Oregon has like we had so many like different
Yeah.
league tournaments before our QT and state. So I remember one thing that we used to do is we would send like a couple of our like members over to different tournaments
Mm.
during the season to like scout out their teams. Did you guys ever do anything like that?
Yeah, so we weren't able to send them there, but I know at least in Wisconsin, all of our competitions are streamed live on YouTube, so we can watch all of it back. And that's where a lot of our scouting information came from before the event.
Okay, makes sense. I guess I'm curious. This is a little bit of like not a tangent, but like a little bit different. This is a little bit less technical focused. What is your guys's like favorite moment so far this season?
Well, I mean, winning state was
Oh, that's
very
yeah, wait,
exciting.
that's
Yeah, it was we're
Yeah.
very proud of it. So that's my favorite. But
I'd probably agree with that.
seeing everything pay off at state kind of made everything before that much better, like all the
mhm.
work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess I'm also curious. So our team, so we've been going, we're like this is gonna be like our like one of our like ninth or tenth seasons this year. And through the years we've definitely had a lot of change. So I actually recorded a episode of a podcast with a couple of alumni a couple days ago. where they discuss the differences in culture at first. Especially being around for being a team that's been around for such a long time, they've noticed a lot of changes in the culture. I guess I'm curious, do you have any opinions on that? Especially like through the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, well, we've been a team for 7 years
Yeah.
now. And of course, COVID did knock a lot of teams out. It's, much smaller now, but hopefully we'll get back up to those numbers in the coming years. But at least in Wisconsin, we've noticed that like everything got so much more competitive recently, especially with super regionals. It's like only two teams advanced from state. And we have, I'd say in Wisconsin, like 5 or 6 teams that are just so great. And I really wish could have come to Worlds with us. But it's just like everything's very, very competitive now. And everyone's really getting in the spirit of first.
Yeah, that is true. And I think we've definitely, me and Sophia have noticed a lot of the same things, especially through the COVID pandemic. I don't remember, I think Oregon had like, I think we had like 8 slots beforehand or something like that. And now, since we went, especially this season, it was a little weird. We went right from our QT and then we had state, which is virtual. We had 2 merit-based slots, and then this is a little weird. We had a lottery slot.
Mhm.
I don't know if that was, and it was interesting because I'd never seen something that was really like that before this season. So I've definitely noticed that it's a lot more competitive, especially in the way that our team has formatted things and the way that we've run our meetings. Because I've been here since the 2019 Skystone season, and beforehand, we were going for, since when there was 8 slots, we'd be like, okay, in order to not necessarily like focus on getting to worlds, but the way we would format our like means it would be a little bit, we would still be very competitive, but it was a little bit more relaxed. Like, okay, we need to shoot for this, we need to shoot for this. This is generally what we need to do, but it's okay as long as we try really hard to hit these points. And now, especially with the seasons of being only 2 slots, where since it's only literally like winning Alliance Captain and then Inspire one,
Yeah,
basically, I think not just us, but definitely a lot of the other teams are now super hardcore. We're like, okay, we gotta like look at this judging rubric. We gotta hit everything. We gotta like ramp up our robot. And actually, I think that's what led us to a lot of, or that kind of drive is definitely what led our members to a lot of the iterations and changes on a robot. What do you think Sophia can speak to a little bit?
Yeah, we also had the experience of like completely rebuilding a new robot over winter break. And then we decided we didn't like that one either, and then went through like another iteration. So yeah, I feel like definitely the last 2 seasons there's been I mean it's kind of a good thing. I feel like there's been a lot more unique development to try and get an edge because like there's no more you can't just like go for the same meta of like design where
Mhm.
like one team will like kind of like solve the game or like the optimal way to play it and then like if 8 teams can get like as good in that range then like you advance. Now it's like 2 teams advance, you have to go more, I guess, yeah, hardcore. Like in terms of unique development there's a lot more push, I think, in unique design, which I think is good. But yeah, I don't know, it's definitely really different when you can only have one winning alliance captain team advance. And I think that's also affected strategy a lot more in terms of like how people pick both their alliance partners, but like kind
Yeah,
of doing it to
sure.
pick their opponents as well.
But yeah, I know. What was I gonna say? And also, it's definitely been a bit straining because I see not only inside the competition, but I've also noticed like outside of it, especially, I don't know, I keep bringing up like the FTC Discord, which is really bad, but I've noticed people are like so much more like not competitive, but really like in the know about things now.
Mhm.
Because I've been seeing, I don't know if this was a constant thing beforehand, because I really only saw it recently. But there are kids who are like, okay, what are like these team stats? Like, what is this team like? What is their autonomous looking like? And I was like, huh, this is definitely something that's been recurring. But I definitely have felt like the culture of like the competition and the way that teams view things is now definitely a lot more like cutthroat. So I was curious, and I don't know. I was trying to talk to other teams about this because I felt like, huh, it feels a little bit different than my first year. So yeah, I don't know. That's something that I guess we've noticed a little bit. Um, I guess I'm curious, so in the topic of COVID, is there anything that you guys have really learned and like have been able to kind of take away from like time in the COVID season? Like, is there anything that you guys have been able to do differently, or like has it made any major changes on your team?
Um, I mean, like during COVID, it was definitely a lot different. But now that, like after the fact, mostly, it's really back to normal for us. It's just we had to change like meeting times a lot differently to kind of we have 6 teams at our school and we had to kind of go around each other so that there wasn't like contact between us. But now there's much more of a community again, which is nice.
Yeah, how did you guys how did you guys do a lot of like your meeting process over the COVID season? Because I know for our team we had to do a lot of online work as well as it was just a little bit hard to adjust to because most of the work that we did was in person. And even coming back like with Fright Frenzy, for example, a lot of the way that we changed things, it's we still struggled a lot to like return back to normal. So I'm curious about what you guys did in that or
Yeah,
how that
so
affected you.
we tried to keep meeting in person as much as possible, but kind of as Adam mentioned, we had 6 teams here at our school, so we had to all
Mhm.
work together where there was really only one team in here at a time because that was all we were able to have to keep everyone spread apart. So we turned to a lot more online work. We would commonly get like in Zoom calls and work together on like CAD designs, documentation. Um, so we did shift a lot of our work to working remotely.
Mhm. I guess I'm curious. So you said that you guys have 6 teams at your school right now. Is that still one thing? Because we're actually our team is part of like another like a nonprofit, Allo Robotics, and we have 4 teams like working in the same space. And a lot of the times, what we struggle with is trying to manage like, okay, this is when we can use the space, this is when other teams have to. How have you guys been able to manage? Because we're struggling with 4 teams. How are you able to manage like occupying the same space and like working with other teams, but like, well, not with other teams, but like working in the same space as other teams? How are you able to manage that effectively?
So we've been very fortunate. The room we're in at our school was one of the old shop rooms. So it's a very big space, and we have the old work tables. So each of the team has like their own dedicated space. That's like their space. It's their workspace. Then we have a big area of common parts, the field, and like more shared resources. But because of all of that, we're really able to meet with several teams at the same time. Like during the normal season, we'll have it was to have all 6 teams in here, so that we could all work together, share designs, collaborate, run practice matches. Um, so we've been able to really all work together by doing that.
That said, though, it does get very
Yeah.
crowded with 50 people in here.
Mhm.
It's yeah, especially because a lot of that we had like 30 freshmen this
Yeah.
year. A lot of that's because the work we've done with recruiting,
Mhm.
and we're not stopping
Yeah.
recruiting. So next year is going to be interesting. That's for sure. I think we're gonna outgrow the room at some point if it goes at this speed.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So so you guys said that a lot of the time, like in the beginning of the season, you would like have like brainstorming sessions with other teams and like run practice matches. How does that, okay, I don't know if this is a weird question. How does that work? Like knowing what's the kind of like culture or dynamic like knowing that you're like working with them initially and collaborating and running these matches and getting to know them, but you're also competing against them. Do you ever think about that or?
Yeah, so we in semifinals at state, we were actually against one of our school's teams. But we were we were cheering each other on. It was we're all very good friends, and it's
Mm.
there's an understanding as the first like intro power play video says. Your alliance partner in one match, maybe your opponent the next. So you just kind of you work together, but also just be content to be against each other.
No, that's fair. That is very fair, actually. I was we I wouldn't say the same thing, but it's a little weird because there's one person who's on for our team. Since we have three FTC teams and one like FRC team. So for the three FTC teams, one person who was on like a competing one, I didn't know this at the time, but he was like my old SAT tutor. So I found out that he was on the team. I'm like, wait, hold up. What's up, man? How's it going? So I don't know. It's been a little interesting to see like the different dynamics and everything like that. But it is truly, I guess, in the spirit of first. Although I do feel kind of weird sometimes, like talking to like the other teams or like outside of school, and then competition things just get like super cutthroat. So
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
sure.
That's just something. Yeah. But I guess I'm curious. You guys said it. You guys are recruiting a lot of freshmen. Is that like part of the like your guys' sustainability and everything like that?
Yeah, so we at the start of the year and like over the summer and even into last year, I think we had like a big effort for recruiting because the goal is that so we went to like elementary schools, for example, and the goal is that they would go into our districts like FOL teams and then just kind of work their way up to FTC so that eventually um, they could get to our team in FTC from like, junior FOL and kind of go through the program up. So it is a big part of sustainability, yeah. And we had a lot of recruiting efforts over the summer.
Mhm. And do you guys like tell the kids when you talk to them like, hey, you're starting out here, do you give them like that projection of like
Yeah.
going all the way up to you? Oh, okay, interesting. And I guess what do you guys do to keep because a lot of what we I think struggle with as not necessarily as a team, but especially when we were younger, because I did FLL when I was in elementary school, was really maintaining that kind of like discipline and motivation throughout so many years. And have you guys done anything for the kids to kind of like get them through that, especially since they're like a lot younger?
Like,
We've actually mentored a lot of the FLL teams this year. We had three FLL teams, I believe, and one junior FLL team. And uh, each week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'd actually go over to the middle school, which is where they meet, and kind of mentor them during their meetings, which I think kind of seeing, where they can go if they stick with the first program kind of helps a lot in motivational aspects.
Okay, yeah, that definitely that makes sense. Um, one thing I was curious about was you said that you're recruiting like especially with like freshmen and starting and like recruiting people who are like younger to the different FTC teams. I'm curious, what are your guys' grades?
I'm a senior.
I'm a junior.
Okay. And one thing that we've seen, because we're also working a lot on the context of sustainability for our team and like recruiting members who are like in middle school or like late middle school or like even freshmen in high school, is we have a little bit, not like a generational gap. We're not that old, but like I mean, I hope we're both juniors. But one thing that we've noticed is that it's definitely been a little bit different, like working with people who are like so much of a different age range. Have you guys noticed anything like that?
Um, a little bit. Most of the freshmen we recruited are on the other teams, and then they like interviewed for our team like once they have more experience. But we do have a freshman on our team who's sitting over there right now. Siddharth, would you like to make an appearance?
Oh, we're like in the middle of a. Oh wait, are we in like the middle of a meeting right now? I'm sorry.
No, there's just a few of us here. But
Oh,
here's
okay, okay.
he's one of our freshmen. He's actually
Yo,
like
what's up, man?
13. 14. All right, well, he just turned 14. He skipped a year. So he's extra young. And
Skipty. Okay, I
yeah,
respect
so
that.
would
Damn.
you
Okay.
like to talk about just do you feel that there's a like disconnect because of the age difference?
Not really. Like, um, the age difference isn't like a big factor. Like, I just do um, like this. I just come in like work. Like, it's not really. It's not really like no, it's not really like how old like one of the kids are. It's just that it's not how like what grade you're in that's like determining how much work I do. It's just like I want to like do well, and like
hmm
so a lot of the other members on our team don't do as much, and they're older, and like it's just because like they don't really care as much, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Thank you, so that's very cool. So that's
Damn, that was.
yeah.
No, I
Throwing
respect.
shade.
You know, me personally, I wouldn't take that level of disrespect. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go back over there.
Siddharth, yeah, he's great. We love Siddharth.
Oh my, oh, that's so funny. Actually. No, to be fair, it's kind of valid because I realized I found out this is bad. So okay, sadly we didn't make it past states because we got cut off during the online thing. Um, and oh, one second. And so at the end of the season, our coach like does individual meetings with us. And I found out, so I'm a junior gonna be going into my senior year for like our last season, which would be next season. And since we had our meeting times like, or since our season ended like a little early, we were able to bring up all our hours and stuff. And I found out that I have like the second lowest hours on our team. And we have like a couple eighth graders too, and they were like double mine. And I was like, damn, I really suck. Oh my God. So that was a little bit
Yeah.
humbling, but I think it's funny that he
For
says that.
reference, most members, and I personally have more than double the hours that Aiden did. So that's very impressive for Aiden that he managed to skip so many meetings.
Yeah.
No, it was bad too because I'm our outreach. Like I was our outreach lead. Now we do like this weird like advisor lead system now, but I was like our outreach lead and I planned most of them. And I found out I had like the second lowest outreach hours too. And I was like, wait, how does that even work? What the heck? So that was a little bit of a humbling experience, I guess I'll say. What was I gonna tangent with that? Oh, speaking of that, what is your guys' like general meeting times?
Well, I guess going into what Siddharth said, it varies from member to member, but at least with me and Corey here, we meet like every day
Pretty
except
much every day.
Sunday.
Oh, damn.
Like yeah, we just go after school.
Yeah, sometimes it's only for like a couple hours at a time, but we
Yeah.
try to meet a little bit like every day. And that makes it easier too for other members to come in when it's works for them and when they're able to, so we can kind of get everyone in.
It's
Mhm.
we're on spring break now though, so it varies a bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, same. Wait, do you guys ever have like a standardized meeting time? Or like
Um,
work for the entire team?
yeah, so 5:30 to 8 on Mondays and Wednesdays is
Mhm.
the most attended time by our team members. And that's always standard throughout every week.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say because where was I going with that? So we try to have two meetings, and we have it like Friday would be our Friday nights, which yeah, Friday nights would be our whole team meeting, and then we have subgroup like meetings and discussions after that. But one thing that I especially like I found doing a lot of documentation the last season is we would often really struggle with communicating, especially with like hardware, a lot of the radical hardware changes and like autonomous. We would often struggle to like keep up with each other. In a way, so I'm curious, how do you guys effectively manage communication and like making sure everyone's on the same page?
Yeah, so we during our meetings we keep like logs of everything that we do so that it can be referenced by like all of the team members, and we also just have like the people that do document stuff for the notebook uh just like with us, at all times, and communications like the most important part to really like have a cohesive team. So we just make sure we have like what Slack is. It's
Okay,
like
that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
we use Slack to communicate, and we post pictures of everything we do today. So
Oh,
we all have an understanding of what happens when we're not there.
okay.
So, kind of follow-up question. Obviously, the engineering notebook isn't required anymore. It's just the engineering portfolio. But would
Yeah.
you say you guys kind of still keep like a version of an engineering notebook to kind of maintain things?
Yeah, we do, but we're starting to realize that maybe it's not like that necessary because at state we saw only 8 teams even submitted one. But I mean, we had one, and we put a lot of work into it. But yeah, I think overall FTC is trying to shift away from that, which makes a lot of sense because judges can't practically look through like 500 pages for
Yeah.
each team.
Mhm.
So a portfolio makes a lot more sense from a like competitive standpoint.
Yeah.
Portfolio also
Okay.
helps kind of level the field
Yeah,
because
you're
almost
not in for
a lot of the smaller teams struggle
Yo.
with a very large notebook, so it kind of levels the field, making it even for large member teams and teams of 3 or 4 people to write a similar portfolio.
Mhm.
This
No,
is
that
Jet. He's our business lead.
Hello.
Yo, nice to meet you. Oh my. Oh, okay. Wait, does business lead encompass like outreach, fundraising,
Yeah,
and
fundraising,
documentation?
outreach, and notebook.
Okay, okay. Oh, that is the standard thing. I thought, sorry, because I did outreach fundraising in a notebook. I thought our team was weird because I'm doing the notebook and outreach. Huh, it was interesting, but that's cool actually. Oh my goodness. But yeah, how often do you guys usually update your engineering notebook?
Um, Usually after every outreach event or like a major change in our robot design, we'll add something about that
Mm.
just to keep track of what we're doing. Less focus is being placed on the notebook, less
Yeah.
next season because of dwindling importance in judging. We're focusing more on the portfolio and the actual judging presentation itself because that's what the judges are going to be looking for the most, and they're going to be putting the most time into looking at that rather than this massive notebook of whatever.
Mm. No, yeah, that's facts actually. Because oh my, I remember. So our team usually does is we have a we this last season we tried to do it for any like minor, not minor, but like any kind of modification to our robot, we would like document, but then that got like super cluttered after a while because we'd be like replace servo or like slightly modified this module. And what we realized was we struggled a lot with like not only like getting members to write it because it'd be like, okay, I don't want to write about like literally just like adding
Yeah,
one thing or like replacing one thing,
because it gets
but then
tedious.
also it does get tedious, yeah. And then it was really humbling because I was the one who's like hella backing the engineering notebook. Like, guys, we gotta definitely write. This is gonna be so useful, like a judging reference tool.
Yeah,
And then our states got like picked to remote, and I was like, oh, okay, that was a little sucky. So I think we're also next season going to be changing to focusing a lot more on the portfolio, and we're going to be doing like we're going to have like basically instead of formatting it like we would format a traditional en, we're doing a lot more of just like bullet points and notes of just like what
yeah,
we've
that's what we're
shared.
actually doing right now. We're organizing our
Mm.
entire portfolio differently for worlds, and that's a lot more what we're doing is making everything more concise so it's easier for the judges to read, highlighting specific information so it's right there in their face. And then
Mhm.
also designating what awards apply to what section so they can just flip to what they need to see.
Oh, okay, that is really good. Do your judges like look a lot at your notebook?
No, actually, at our state, I
Oh,
think
okay.
only 2 teams had their notebooks looked at by the judges, and
Hmm.
that's because it was really close for the Inspire Award.
Oh, I see. Oh, they do. Okay, that's interesting because I don't know, we were told that like that the judges like don't really look at it, but that is super
That
interesting.
What did
was
they say?
that was true at most of our qualifiers. Like at some of our qualifiers, they wouldn't even accept it when we tried to turn it in.
Hmm.
But at state they did.
Oh, okay. That is really interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better to know that like at least you could submit it. That all my hours of work theoretically would have helped, but that makes sense. And I guess a final question, because I realize we have like 90 seconds left. Do you have any more advice for any other like new or like people who want to get into FTC?
Find mentors. Mentors are really, really good to learn because
Hmm.
if you're just getting into it by yourself, it's kind of hard to figure out. It takes a long time. But if you have someone that has experience or another FTC team in your area, reach out to them because they can provide a lot of advice, like an FTC one, like bullet points of here's how to do it. Even just like mentoring you through little things and you can get feedback from them. It's good.
And if you can't
Okay.
find mentors, there's always the internet. You
Yes.
can learn a lot from that. People don't they kind of take that for granted and don't
Mhm.
uh, use it as the resource it can be, but there's so much you can learn from it.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Crack Opinion, for joining us. It's been a
Thank
really
you
Thank you for
guys.
having